That's what has to happen to me too. Going to bed at 11 and getting up at 5. Ugh. Welcome back in, everybody. Golf Talk Radio. Mike and Billy. Don't forget, you can always check out our podcast at golftalkradio.com. We're on many different platforms. You can download Golf Talk Radio, take it with you. We have a Golf Talk Radio app. You can find all the other platforms at golftalkradio.com. Don't forget to visit our partners as well. They make the show possible. And I want to thank Paso Robles Golf Club up in the Central Coast of California, right in wine country. They offer 18 holes of championship golf, open to the public, 100% of the time. Deeds Bar and Grill, brand new. Sports bar, restaurant, no place like it. Live music on Wednesday nights. Taco Tuesday nights. Prime Rib on Monday nights. And all right there at Paso Robles Golf Club at the golf course. You can make tee times at PasoRoblesGolfClub.com. Or call them at 805-238-4722. And if you want to do golf lessons or club fittings, I am one of the PGA professionals there. You can reach me at 805-238-4722.
It's a great place to eat breakfast, too. Sunday morning breakfast is wonderful.
Yeah, you guys have been there a few times.
A few times,
it's
yeah.
It's a cool
it's
setup.
It's a great meeting place.
Yeah, it really is. It's got a really cool vibe. And like I said in the beginning of the show, the course is Doug Wetzberg, the superintendent, just does an amazing job with that golf course. And to see it striped, all of a sudden, like I said, just kicked up the memories of the Masters and tournaments and all that stuff. So really, really cool. But yeah, it's been good. Are you still doing trainings? Are you done with your trainings for the NCGA? We talked about that last week.
Oh, no, I'm not done. No. I've gotten through the first training for both.
Yeah.
But I have... on the tournament official now, we actually have, I think, 3 times where we go with someone and shadow them before we go on. And we're supposed to be getting rules certified at the same time. So we're supposed to be able to work towards passing our rules test. And then on the course rater side, there's also a number that you have to go, as kind of a apprentice with an experienced person. Mm-hmm. So I would say, there's going to be, 3 events on both sides that are kind of more training than anything else.
Do you, so, you're becoming, in case you guys are not aware, Nikki's being certified as a course rater and a tournament official, right?
Right.
Is it all at Poppy Hills that you go up and do those things? Or do they, because I know these events rotate around Northern California.
Right.
Do you shadow at different golf courses at different live events, or is it all through
So
Poppy?
what you do is you go online and they'll have a list of all the NCGA events, and then you put in a request for a certain date someplace. Like I put in a request for the U.S. Senior Open qualifier, stuff like that. So you can pick events, and they're all different places.
Yeah.
So you then go, you get a letter back or an email back saying, you've been approved for this event, whatever, and then you have to show up. On the course rater, same thing. You go online, and they'll have a list of the course ratings, and then you choose which ones will work in your schedule, and then they'll get back to you whether or not, they need you or not.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It's all automated. Yeah.
So interesting.
It's going to be really exciting. It'll be interesting as it goes through the year to see how it plays out.
So what's the expected time to get through all this and your NCGA, like to become a tournament official and to become a course rater?
Yeah.
I know those are 2 different things, but do they have it all laid out like in a timeline? They're like, okay, you're going to be a tournament official and you're going to go through this within 6 months.
Yeah.
And as long as you pass your test,
you are a tournament official, like right off the bat. It's just in what capacity do they use you is how it works. And then you kind of work your way up. So
how many times a year you have to do?
You have to do minimum of 10
a
year. And then for the course rater, it's a minimum of 5.
Wow.
So, yeah. But it's like little one-day events here and there. And
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because if you are going to be a tournament official, you got to,
got to do it.
You got to do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do there'll be an event, a 3-day event. You do all 3 days.
Oh,
so
that's true.
It's days. It's not, event, quote unquote. So.
It'd be really interesting is when I was working on becoming a club professional, they had it broken out where orientation, you wouldn't go to Florida. Like you could go somewhere kind of close to where you live. Now, I've always lived on the Central Coast while I was becoming a PGA Club pro. And so I chose Orange County. So I went down to Orange County, and I remember staying at a DoubleTree, and you have like a 2-day orientation seminar, and then you have at the end you have the rules test, and you have the PGA Constitution test. And it'd be really interesting to see what your rules test is, and obviously the rules have changed a lot.
Yeah.
That was 20. Oh, geez, that was like 22 years ago. So.
Yeah, I hear that from what I've heard from people, it's really hard. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they do, because I know like we were talking, Billy, I was talking to Nikki about, she mentioned that she's becoming a tournament official and a course rater, but like what the real commitment is, and she was talking about the rules test. Like I can remember when we went back to Florida and you had to do your actual testing in Florida, like they had a screen in front of you, and it was like, okay, this is going to be up on the screen for
10 seconds.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And then
that'll raise your anxiety level.
And you had the book.
You had the book in hand.
But
it would go blank, and you had to find the rule number, the breach and the penalty, or the definition, or there was nothing. So you had to, and then you're like, I didn't see it. Turn it back on. What?
So what was the purpose of having you only get it for a minute?
To see if you couldn't recognize the breach or recognize the rule break or what. And but finding the rule number was brutal.
Now what they did before that, because there were different incarnations of this whole thing. Like Gibby's talked about the first time he went through, and then many, many, many years he went through again. When what I was told, and this was Gary Setting told me this, right before I went for my first checkpoint, they actually created a rule situation, and you had to stand there and they role played, and you held the book, and it was like, okay.
So you did this outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And you didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
And you had to go through and interpret the book, and they just wanted you to be it was a live test. It was like actually doing it live.
In our room, they had the book, but you had screen scenarios like you're talking about. But there was 15, I guess, and some there was no breach. Some was a definition issue. Some was, if you notice something, outside the tee box, the ball was outside the tee box. Right. How do you find that rule? And you know for sure you're teeing in front of the markers or something, or outside the box, not in front. But so where do you find it? And then you had so many minutes, and the next video popped up.
Yeah. And
then you're like, I'm still looking for this one. But video 2's up. Yeah. And you could hear the pros all freaking out. But so that it was stressful, and a lot of people failed that part.
That
in Scorecast.
There's bedlam in Belgium when they had that big room, the screen, and as soon as that thing went off, they do the rule video, like Billy said, it's up there for 10 to maybe 20, 25 seconds.
It was 25 seconds,
and it was gone.
Oh yeah.
And you hear people go,
run it again.
Yeah, it was.
Wow,
it was pretty gnarly.
And then they also did a similar thing with the golf swing, and you'd have to decide: was this over the top? Was this too flat? Was this right? How was the angle of approach? Right? Remember that? You had to see. So was the face open or closed? Right? They show a video of somebody hitting a shot. How was the face? And are you looking?
Hopefully, it was in slow motion.
No.
No?
Well, I don't think so.
I think a couple of them
Some
were.
of them might have been.
I distinctly remember a bunker shot. I remember that showing someone hitting out of a fairway bunker. And I thought, that's really interesting.
I mean, it was some, and you're thinking, well, if you're looking at ball flight or you're looking at club face, which they can go hand in hand, obviously, right? So some pros, however they look at something. So was it shut? Was it open? Was it straight? And there's a whole bunch of questions on that after looking at someone's swing.
They had one at the end when I went. I guess the guy threw it in there as like just a laugh thing.
Joke.
Yeah, so they show the guy hitting out of the fairway bunker. And then the last video was a guy hitting a shot, and he took his club and he flipped it around and he smashed the handle on the ground, and it said, "Do you think the shaft broke in the handle?"
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. And
I was like, well, where do you answer that? I don't see it on the test.
Unsportsmanlike behavior, whatever they call it. Remember, there's certain behaviors that you should have on a golf course under etiquette.
Yes.
So that would have been under etiquette.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them were definitions too. So if you couldn't find the rule, you had to find the definition. So if the ball was outside the tee box, you could just write the T-box definition
Mm-hmm.
number, and you're like, oh, that covered it, versus finding it's 14B
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it was. And I had more trouble. I had more fun, easier finding definitions than
Yes,
the rules.
I did too.
So then it was okay if you did that, but some didn't know that. The club repair ones, they'd strip down. You have a club, you had to take a grip off. You had to find the type of shaft it was, how many wraps tape you needed to build it up.
brutal.
Like they want to build this up a quarter inch, build up to 1/64th or whatever.
Spoiler alert here. Keyword being tape.
Tape. And they mess with people on the tape. Were you one of the ones they mess with? They use half thick tape, the one they normally use. So
They put in on mine, and I didn't pass that part because they put in tape that was half the thickness of standard tape.
Standard tape.
Oh,
so
gosh.
he needed double wraps, but he put,
And it didn't say it.
Yeah.
It didn't say
they try
it.
to mess with you.
It didn't say it on tape. It doesn't say on the tape like this is 0.50 and this is 1.00. You just had to look at the width of the tape.
And then they come and measure it and say, nah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Then they had
Brutal.
shafts. You had to find a TT light or shaft or an S300 shaft and taper tipped or parallel tipped. And they had all the shafts up there, so you had to go find the right one. And TT lights aren't marked. The other ones, and I had a TT light, but I knew that they weren't marked. So if I didn't know that, I'd be still looking for the TT light marking. So I saw the other ones were marked and took it. I got lucky because I just know it's just not marked.
Yeah.
So I wrapped it. But you told me about the tape. Right, so I did the double
Because it was on the written test as well. They had calculations, so it was a calculation with multiple choice answers, and it was all with the decimal points. And I can remember because that was the one I had. That was the only one I had to redo. That was my first go around, and there's 8 tests, and the one that I didn't pass because of the stupid tape was the club repair one because I never did club repair.
Yeah.
I did club repair thanks to Billy when he was at Copeland's. I remember going to Copeland's. Billy helped me with everything because I knew nothing. We didn't have club repair at Avalon when I was there. But I just remember that darn that Roger Maltby book that was like it was like a cinder block. And going back to the condo, and I was so depressed. I'm like, because if you don't pass, you're going home.
You're
flying home.
walking up with your club like, please, sir, here's my club, sir. And they look at it, no, you fail.
Wow.
You have not passed.
And the Scorecast was a tournament software that everybody got stuck with. And if they didn't do it right, it froze. And everybody, it's frozen, it's not working. And they gave you 16 names of players, what they shot, what their indexes were, and you had to put all that information. And then you had to print out how much money they won. Here's the pool of money. Remember that whole thing? And 60% of the class failed, and they're freaking out. It's frozen. The guys up there, it's not frozen. It works.
So
it's frozen. No, it works. It's you that's frozen.
So I don't know if I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but I was doing the testing. That was Scorecast.
Scorecast.
I was doing the testing on that, and the formula for the handicapping, the way it was set up, I had put it in incorrectly. And so I realized it.
Your payouts were wrong?
Yeah, I realized it at the end, and I found the loophole to adjust the dollar amounts.
Nice.
And I changed it with like 30 seconds left. I changed it and printed it out, and I handed it to the guy so that the payouts were right. Well, otherwise I wouldn't have passed.
I can't beat that, but what I did is I put 15 of the 16 names at first. I forgot a name.
Oh, geez.
But I caught it because it wasn't printing it out right. So I had to go back and look, which name did I miss? So I finally found the list. I had to go through the names real quick and found the one guy, inserted him, and then I hit, and it worked. But
this is like, this is one of the first computer Scorecast software programs ever. So it's not.
Everybody hated it.
It's not going to be good, right?
Yeah.
It never is.
Funny.
That was at the meeting. At the meeting at the pros at the end, what would you do a little bit different? At your next 3 levels, you're like, you got to get rid of Scorecast, man. Yeah. Everybody says. So.
Well, the other thing that they should have done and they didn't do was they left everybody's volume on full blast on their computer. Yeah. So when you made an error in Scorecast, beep, 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 beep,
damn it,
shoot,
sorry,
come on, and it's like you're sitting there, you're trying to concentrate. You got 24 people in a small room. And it was
crazy.
It was brutal.
The last level, there's another guy named Gibbs.
Funny.
There was another guy named Gibbs with me, so they put you with same person, but you had to do your interview. So they bring you up and you have your portfolio and your stuff with you. If you don't show them the interview book at any time during the interview, if you don't show them something you've done, you fail. You go home.
Yeah.
So it was the last thing we did. And they asked, well, you've got anything you want to show me? Lisa asked me. I said, oh, yeah, I'd like to show you what I'm getting new at golf, something we did at Avila or whatever. But the guy, so we went back to the final day after everything was done, and he's not sitting there. And he went through all of it, all the time. This other Gibbs was with, I forget his first name, Kenny or something. He wasn't there. So I finally asked what happened. Well, he didn't show his stuff. I'm like, can't you just bring him back in
Isn't
for
that
a
insane?
minute or two and just say, come on? I mean, could you just say,
That's crazy.
or lead him, say, I haven't seen anything yet. Is there really anything you want to remind him?
Yeah.
But so he had to come back to the thing just to do that.
No, that's
He had to come
wrong.
back to Florida.
I'm having so many flashbacks
So that was
right now.
I was kind of so he didn't get
That's
to go to
just
the
wrong.
and that was the night of the party where you get your pin.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even go to the party of the
That's
pin, and he was there
brutal.
all week.
That's not right.
That's
We're
not
like-
right.
And there was a bunch of us saying that, and we were looking at the instructor he was in a different group, and because I didn't see that happen, but I knew the instructor was, and I'm just like, dude, why just bring him in again? Let him. Come on.
That's
Well,
just
he's
wrong.
got to come back. I'm like, it's expensive for us to go to Florida at that time. It was crazy
so
expensive.
That's
the
crazy.
last
Yeah, that was wrong.
the last session that I went, I'm having these flashbacks now. Remember, you go back into, this is level 3. So this is it. Like if you
Well, this
pass, you're going to be PGA, right? We all go back into the assembly area, which is big round tables and big screen and everything. And we're all sitting there. And they would come and tap you on the shoulder. And they'd say, you're good. So everybody gets tapped on the shoulder. 10 minutes goes by and I'm sitting at the table in the room by myself.
Where'd everybody else go?
Nobody's around. And I'm thinking, holy crap, I didn't pass. Like I'm running through like, what didn't I pass? What didn't I pass?
Oh my God, dude.
So then there's a blue coat out there and I walk out and I go,
Cookie.
I just am curious. Is anybody going to say anything to me? Well, what do you mean? I said, you know the drill. I go, everybody's been talked to. And I said, either I didn't pass or you guys forgot me. They grab the list. They start going down. What's your name? Brabenik? There's no Brabenik. I said, Brabenik? He goes, oh, it's right here. You're fine. Go ahead.
Oh,
And I'm like, that summed up my whole 3-level experience with the PGA. I had so many weird things happen from
Wow.
President Clinton going down I-95 and blocking the road so I couldn't
remember you
couldn't
turned
get
the
there.
wrong way the first time you
My
went south?
luggage not showing up, and I show up for testing, and I'm wearing the polo shirt and shorts I wore on the plane,
supposed
and
to
I'm
wear a
supposed to
suit.
be wearing a suit and tie, and I have no clothes. I have nothing. And they pull me out of testing because they go, there's 3 blue coats. They go, what are you doing? I go, what do you mean? They're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm taking a test. No, why are you dressed like that? I said, I have already been through this with the concierge, with the head of the PGA,
With the airlines.
with the airlines. I said, my stuff is supposed to show up at
It's
noon.
in Buenos Aires.
Well, you can't take a test like that. And I look at him, I go, damn well, I'm going to take a test like this. I go, I didn't get in until 1 a.m. I'm here at 7 a.m. because you guys started this test at 7.
They do.
I'm here. I'm taking the test. I am not going to not take the test. I paid my money. And it was a lot of money. It was like $1,500 to $2,000
yeah,
to
it's
set
a
a level.
Yeah.
So then I took the test. I left. I had to go to the condo. I get my clothes. I had to iron them. I had 15 minutes to iron and steam my clothes, get on my suit, and get back. I had to do it during lunch
No stress there, huh?
to get back into testing. And then that thing happened at the round table at the end. So when it was done, I was done. I was like, there has to be a
that's
better
almost
way.
like hazing.
Yeah, there has to be a better way to do
changed
this.
it. There was 10 tests that first day we went. There was 10 assessments, so written and actual like hands-on stuff. 10, and if you failed more than 3, you went home immediately. If you failed 3 or less, you can come back early the next day and make those up. So unfortunately, I got all 10 that first day. But poor people were crying, and stuff. And this is the second level I failed. So Josie and I studied for maintenance and different fertilizers and stuff. So it's all about groundskeeping.
Fertilizers.
So I studied the wrong half of the book. So obviously the questions were on the other side of the book. So I missed that one. So I kind of had to do a makeup. But we found the other half, which was funny because it was all the questions that I did study for the first day. So I went from like 60 to 90 because I knew all this. I just wasn't the side I studied. I'm like, this fertilizer doesn't make sense. I don't remember this question. and we just didn't look at it, and we didn't.
That's
study.
so brutal.
So that's the one. I
So
thought,
brutal.
And if you fail that, you go home, right? So if you fail your makeups, you go home, and it's like we're thousands of miles away. So I was so fortunate that 10, there was some in the class that missed 4 or 5. I took one of them to the airport that night.
Yeah.
Instead of going to celebrate, I'm taking someone back to the airport. And it's sad.
You would sit in the lobby,
And
the
there's
long lobby along the different conference rooms, and you would sit there and wait for the board to be
come up.
posted. And it would be an hour and a half. People are, I mean, I didn't smoke. I was ready to smoke. I was like, literally, people would go out on the outside and they'd just, if you had beer or if you had whiskey, you'd be drinking.
You'd be getting the flask.
We better take a break because we're running over.
So, hey, but once you make it, you're like, so people don't realize what the PGA Pro
crazy
goes through. But
we'll be right back, guys. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Stay with us.